What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Martin here at Data Dash, and today is October 16th of 2017. Well, folks, as we all keep up with the general market of cryptocurrencies, I think we're all aware that Bitcoin has been on an absolute tear over the past week due to exuberance going into the hard fork on October 25th that will release Bitcoin Gold to all Bitcoin holders. Okay, that was quite a mouthful there, but it's an exciting time for cryptocurrencies. A lot of people are debating whether or not this hard fork is going to be good for the overall brand of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as a whole. Some are skeptical of the project. Some say that there isn't enough information coming out. Some are very optimistic about Bitcoin Gold and think that this is great because it's going to help decentralize mining to people with GPUs rather than, the ASIC mining scene, which has become very centralized. So, there's this whole debate going on whether or not it's going to be good or bad. Either way, it's coming. It is. It's set in stone, and it's going to be released on October 25th. Okay, so because of that, a lot of people have been optimistic going into buying Bitcoin so they can get their Bitcoin Gold coming October 25th. However, I gotta say right now, to be honest and fair with you all, that the focus in the debate of whether or not it's a good or bad thing isn't really the thing we should be asking. The question we should be asking right now is whether or not Bitcoin is going to run up anymore going into the fork and then afterwards. And I gotta tell you all right now, I don't think it's going to go up much more until after altcoins have caught up. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, of course, as I said, it's not until altcoins come up. I'm not saying Bitcoin's never going to go to new highs. I absolutely believe it's going to go to new highs. As we've entered into this bull run, much like in previous bull runs of the year, we've seen Bitcoin lead ahead of altcoins. Usually when Bitcoin leads, altcoins follow. And altcoins come in with even stronger returns, but it waits for the Bitcoin to initially find stability and lead the market forward. Now, we've had a nice run up so far from the lows of all the China fund. We've gone from around $116 billion in overall valuation to $175 billion at the top. The thing is, though, we've double topped now. We've double topped at the previous high of the previous run. Now, do I think the bull run's over? Absolutely not. I think we're just getting started. But the question is, what's going to bring up that value? What's going to help uplift markets even higher? Well, I think Bitcoin will continue to play a role maybe after the fork, but going into the fork, I think we're going to start seeing a little bit of a sell-off in Bitcoin and start seeing the transition from optimism in Bitcoin over to altcoins. Now, why is this? Well, I think that seeing as we had all this FOMO this past week, anyone who legitimately wants to hold Bitcoin going through the fork has already purchased their Bitcoin. So I don't think the price is going to go up that much. I think everyone who bought into it see it as this, this opportunity to get a little bit of free money in the crypto space. It's an extra fork onto Bitcoin. And I think we all know that when Bitcoin launches, Bitcoin Gold launches and is distributed out, once the fork is complete, Bitcoin's price is going to drop. It's pretty much set in stone. So because of that, I think that we have to start looking for some altcoins. I think altcoins are going to finally catch up. And to prove that in a sense as to why I'm feeling that way, it was exactly like it was in the previous fork. When everyone was, going towards, like, oh, should I sell, my altcoins? I've already had like a huge loss. I'm going to go pick up some Bitcoin and then get Bitcoin Cash. And I said, guys, wait a little bit patiently. Be a little more patient. Just go through it. Hold your altcoins. And lo and behold, practically my entire portfolio instantly went rebound up 25 to 30% and completely beat out what people would have gained going to Bitcoin Cash. So again, it relies on that patience, thinking a step ahead and thinking about how markets are going to react. So whether or not you agree with me on that, today I wanted to go ahead and share with you all that if you did agree with me in thinking that that's what's going to happen, I'd like to share with you at least my opinion on 3 altcoins that you should watch if that transaction and that kind of change from Bitcoin to altcoins happens. So what are those 3 altcoins? What are the 3 altcoins that I think are going to come in as Bitcoin pulls back? Let's go ahead and take a look through them, and I'll explain a little bit as to how I'm trading and investing in them. First one, as always, you all know I'm optimistic on OmiseGO, and I've been waiting for this pullback for a long time. I covered OmiseGO a while back, actually just a few days after its ICO launch down in this area down here. And I'll be honest with you all, I missed out on the initial run-up. Most YouTubers all in the space wouldn't want to mention their lost opportunities, and I could rail on myself for being captain, playing Captain Hindsight and say, oh, you should have gotten in. But to be fair, I'm learning from my past mistake of missing out on OmiseGO. I ignored a lot of my audience who told me to invest in it. I just thought it was a little too overvalued for the time, but I've started to see the potential behind the project. And seeing as it had so much optimism going into it, And now that we've had a nice consolidation that I've been hoping for quite some time, I'm not missing out on my second chance. And I think this is a great cryptocurrency for the long run. I never doubted it, but I just didn't know it would move up this quick and that the public in general would see so much optimism in it. Now, if you want to know more about OmiseGO, as always, I like to keep my audience informed. You should go check out my video on OmiseGO. It's a project I'm very optimistic on in the long term. I think there's a lot of potential behind it. But again, I want to talk now more rather than what I'm optimistic about in the long term, about the strategy that I'm applying. So with OmiseGO, I'm applying a half and half strategy. Now, when you hear me say half and half, this means that I'm doing half of a trade that I already have my sell level set, and then the other is more of a long-term holding. This means that there's no serious sell level set for them, or it's going to be something that I'm holding for 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 years or more going into the next few years of cryptocurrency. So with OmiseGO, I'm doing a 50-50. So I'm going to be trading 50. I already have a sell level set for 50% of my sell order on OmiseGO, what I've already bought, and then also I'm going to sell the rest later on. So what is this looking like? Well, I want to let you all know I've already bought my OmiseGO right now. I'm going to be fair with you and say that I have my position. I got into it because I cannot give up on this discount. We are more than half sold off from the highs of OmiseGO and Bitcoin comparative. So this is more than a 50% correction comparative to Bitcoin. An absolutely awesome opportunity for such a strong leader. Now, what is my strategy with this? Of course, as always, I set my stops if I'm doing any kind of trading, and even sometimes on long-term investing. And I found a nice, kind of range here where I'm giving it enough room. Generally, I'm saying that the buy order should be around here, and then the stop should be around 100,000 Satoshis. Now, why is my buy order around here? Not only is that more than a 50% pullback, which is usually what you see in a correction, but along with that, there's a specific level here. 130,000 Satoshis is a nice even. And then also you found that there's previous support here as well as previous resistance. And what was previous resistance usually tends to become support. And I think it's going to serve as support again. So this is the general buy zone around 130,000 Satoshis. My first sell level for 0.25% of my holdings is going to be here at 200,000 Satoshis. So an already nice profit on a quarter. And then I'm hoping to sell another 25% up here. And then the rest, I'm going to let hold. I'm just going to hold it for quite some time and see what OmiseGO does. I think OmiseGO is a very optimistic project, and I think it could honestly break above highs up here that it previously saw. I don't know how far it's going to go, but I think that it'd be a good holding going over the next few months and possibly going into the later end of 2018. As you all know, it's one of my favorite holdings going into 2018 if you all watched my top 15 coins going into 2018. So again, I wanted to keep true to my word that it's a long-term objective as well as a trading opportunity, and I'm going to pull a 50-50 on this, all right? So again, that's my strategy, and I will stop out of my position if I get taken down here to 1 million Satoshis. A loss that I'm willing to take on this one, but the reward potential is so much higher than the risk I'm taking. Next up is Substratum. So as you all know, Substratum is one of the few ICOs that launched this year that I'm actually optimistic on long term. Whereas there's many ICO projects that are not delivering, they're not keeping active, and they're not sharing with the community what they're doing. Substratum has been that project. As you all know, I'm an investor in it for the long term, and I was one of the first few people to cover the project. I really believe in what Justin, Tab, and the rest of the team are doing. They've kept very active in a few different ways. They've recently launched a video releasing the UI of the wallet and the overall node and project that is going to be used in order to be on the Substratum network. It looks gorgeous, very clean cut, and they're also starting to do some beta testing. So they're actually getting into the testing phase. They're actually trying to deliver on their technology and turn a concept into an actual product. But again, you can go watch my video on Substratum, and we're actually going to be doing a follow-up interview with Justin, hopefully in the future soon here with Substratum as a whole, and we'll be able to get some more information on that if you want to stay tuned for that. But I want to talk more about my strategy with Substratum. Now, as you all know, I have a position for the long term. I'm not selling that anytime soon. However, I am looking to add to my position because Substratum's come in a little dip since it's been listed on Binance. Now, this is very common. It's not a bearish trend with an ICO to be a recent ICO to be launched on an exchange. Really, before this, there wasn't a serious exchange that Substratum was listed on. It was listed on EtherDelta, and EtherDelta is not really, in my mind, considered the official exchange when an ICO launches. So I almost consider this the official ICO launch. And the reason why I consider it that, not only is it on a respectable exchange, Binance, but along with that, you actually are able to see a common pattern that you see with ICOs. And traditionally in stock markets, IPOs. So IPOs originally, if you don't know, stand for initial public offerings, and it's when a company goes public on a stock exchange. Now, when a company goes public, there's absolute exuberance coming into it. Usually launches at well above what the IPO initial investment price was before it went pre-market, meaning in this case, what you put into an ICO when they're doing their initial funding, and it launches at a higher valuation. And then you have this period of exuberance, and then you have a sell-off. You have a correction. You have the phase where things kind of level out, things get a little more real, and just kind of consolidate. Now, this doesn't mean that it's going to stay down at these levels forever. And that's very, a big misconception that people have with ICOs is that it's like once it's sold, it's like, oh, God, I should stay away from that. No, it's a consolidation period. It happens. But much like with IPOs in traditional markets, you have what's known in this case as an ICO reversal. In traditional markets, it's an IPO reversal. And what happens is it's when you have that exuberant launch off and you have the consolidation period, it holds. Okay, so as we can see here, we're seeing it right now. We're seeing it where it's holding around 1,750 Satoshis. And as we can see, it's been consolidating here. It's holding that level. It's trying to find solidified support. And then what's going to most likely happen with most ICO and IPO reversals is it starts to come back up. Okay, we start getting some buy-side action. And what happens is we test the previous highs. And this is where an ICO reversal can kick into gear and can really shoot a cryptocurrency into all new highs. And I think that's what we're going to see with Substratum. I think we're going to see it come back up here and we're going to have an ICO reversal. So I don't have any predefined kind of long-term goals. I think that Substratum is going to do great in the long term, and I couldn't give you, I couldn't shoot in the dark and give you some kind of, price level this is going to in the sense of Satoshi measurement. However, I think it's going to do great going into 2018. It's one of my top long-term coins. But on the trading side of things, I'm thinking about boosting my position, doing a little bit of a trade on this as well. Not only am I holding my long-term position, going into the long term, not selling it, but I'm looking to do a swing trade where I'm going to add to my position, and I'm going to sell when it gets back up here to the highs around 3,700. I think we could easily get there, and that would be a great return on this altcoin. I think that it got weighed down during its launch on Binance because Bitcoin was weighing down all altcoins. I think this would have gone much higher if we didn't have that, but sadly it was just bad timing. But what's nice is we could see the ICO reversal on this. So I recommend you keep your eye on it. I like the Substratum project long term, and I think that this is just simple consolidation. It's what happens with ICOs when they launch on big exchanges. And I think the Substratum project is great. So again, don't mind holding it long term. I think it's going to be a great trade opportunity whether or not you want to hold it long term. Again, watch to see if it can come back up to this level. I think you're going to start seeing some buy side action come in. Last one I want to talk about is Vertcoin. Now, as you all know, if you've been keeping up with the channel, Vertcoin's another one I've been talking about in the small cap space that I think is, and I know this sounds very optimistic, is going to give Litecoin a run for its money. It has been getting a lot of traction recently, as we can see with the market cap. Even as the Bitcoin comparative hasn't remained towards its highs, as we all know, Bitcoin has been trending like crazy, and Vertcoin has been gaining more and more in its market cap and becoming much more of a valuable name in the space of cryptocurrency. As you all know, I'm very optimistic of Vertcoin for a few reasons. They've been, testing around with atomic swaps, which is good. But along with that, the one-click miner is coming out. And it's coming out not too near in the future, but relatively near in the future to where I'm getting a little bit exuberant about it. And I'm even actually going to start just mining it in general. I want to start kind of getting in the mining space, learning a little bit about it. And I'm going to test out my GPU to it. But enough of my personal stuff. There's a great trade strategy and a technical analysis that I applied to it with very simple technical analysis that is making me optimistic on it. So what is it? Well, it's a simple wedge. Vertcoin has been building and coiling this wedge, a quite wide wedge at the start, where the price action has been maintaining higher lows and lower highs. And it's been two very specific lines that have been formulating. So as the price action has this very volatile up and down kind of jump, it's showing that there's an eagerness to move big up to the upside or big to the downside. To be honest with you all, I think this is going to be an exuberant run-up. Again, Vertcoin has a lot coming for it. Not to mention, it's been maintaining recently relatively strong against the 100-day here as well. I think as the 200-day, if I'm not miscorrecting. Yes, the 200-day as well. So again, you have this coiling of price action, and I think more likely than not, you're going to see a breakout to the upside. And Vertcoin is going to produce very good results comparative to Bitcoin, in my humble opinion. And to prove that, I'm already a long-term holder in it. In this one, there's not much of a trade strategy. I would recommend if you want to do a 50-50, like I was saying originally, with OmiseGO, I'd recommend selling 50% here at 40,000 Satoshis and letting the rest run, in my opinion. But again, you got to do some research. You got to see if you want to hold Vertcoin, if you're as optimistic as I am on it. And really, again, see if if you think the one-click miner is going to be good for adoption of Vertcoin. I think it is personally, but we'll only have to see with time. And I think that when that gets launched, if luckily enough it gets launched around the end of this wedge, that will be the catalyst to push it up in value, in my opinion. But we'll have to see. Anyways, everyone, that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. And if you got a coin or token you want me to cover in this channel, or a certain topic or trader tip, leave it down in the comments down below. You all know that I take feedback seriously here on the Data Dash channel, and I love hearing from you all in general. But until then, everyone, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.